Welcome to an exclusive podcast by Brickwork Ratings. Today, we'll be looking at pharmacovigilance and its impact in India. With over 9 years of experience in pharmacovigilance field, Mr. Amit Gupta, Principal Medical Writer, Safety Science at Paraxel International Private Limited, has made his mark in the PV industry. He has expertise in preparation of several aggregate reports, including drug safety reports and more. Extremely proficient in signal detection and analysis, including case and context evaluation for data arising from signal detection methods. We are pleased to be in conversation with the one who was awarded Emerging Scientist Award and Young Scientist Award too. Thank you, Amit, for taking out the time to be on Brickwork Ratings podcast.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you so much for inviting me for this session.
Yeah. So before we start, I just want you to throw light on this niche sector called as pharmacovigilance. What is it, and what role does PV play in COVID-19 monitoring and public health in India?
Yes, Tina. I think before starting with your question, what PV basically plays in COVID-19, I would like to throw some light on what pharmacovigilance is. So basically, most of the people that I actually met are not aware what pharmacovigilance is. We actually, being in a pharmacovigilance domain, we are doing it. So, but talking about the pharmacovigilance sector, it is a basic science and activities that we are dealing with, which involves with the signal detection activity and understanding of how the adverse events will happen and how the safety profile of the drug has to be taken care of. It's not only pertaining to you can say allopathic medicine, because we are dealing with the vaccination and even the herbal drugs as well. So basically, if I have to kind of concise everything in a nutshell, I can say basically what in pharmacovigilance we deal with the overall safety profile of the drug. So now coming back to your question, what pharmacovigilance role play in COVID-19 monitoring? So we all are familiar that COVID-19 outbreak started in 2020. And it has serious implications, not even for the developing countries, but for the developed countries as well. So what pharmacovigilance team is doing across the globe is, it's basically for them, it is a paramount task which involves the collection and analyzing of data. It's coming from clinical trials, be it post-marketing data, and they are establishing the safety profile of the vaccines and even the drugs that are used as a, you can say, primary care of treatment for COVID-19. So we as a pharmacovigilance professionals make sure that the risk benefit profile of the drug or for the vaccination is up to the expectations, or you can say the benefit are more and the risk are less. So this is something called the benefit risk profile that in pharmacovigilance we are taking care of. And apart from that, when these pandemic situation happens, so there is a fast track approval process as well. So whenever there is a fast track approval process, all the regulatory guidelines has to be met accordingly. The vaccination or the drugs has to be taken care of, and benefit risk profile has to be made. So even for the regulatory agencies, they have a standard set of parameters that they need to take care of, and they need to advise the pharmaceutical industry. So being a pharmacovigilance professional, we are taking care of that as well. We are meeting the standards as per set by regulatory agencies, and we are taking care of all the vaccines or all the drugs which are launched by the pharmaceutical organizations.
Right.
And I hope this answers your question.
Yes, it does. Actually, pharmacovigilance that plays a much more role than we see out there in the market today, and it's really not much
Yes,
of the
right.
limelight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So coming to the challenges faced by India in this field, what are the
Mm-hmm.
challenges which are faced by India in adverse event reporting system in the pharmacovigilance process?
Okay, so Tina, talking specifically about India, I would say underreporting is the main reason. India being a developing countries, not much people are aware about the pharmacovigilance. They are not even aware about how the safety profile has to be established, how the if anyone is having any kind of adverse events, how and basically what's the procedure behind it. It can be reported to the pharmaceutical company or the regulatory agency. So that's the main reason behind this is the people are not reporting adverse events, and which is ultimately leading to you can say underreporting. And I'll share you a very interesting fact. I recently came across an literature article where it was mentioned that only 55% of the adverse monitoring centers are working right now. So you can well imagine that even 45% are non-functional. So whatever the capacity India holds, it's not fully utilized. So apart from that, people are not aware what pharmacovigilance is, how the knowledge has to be shared with the pharmaceutical industries, or what kind of adverse events they are experiencing, and what how basically they should be sharing that with the pharmaceutical industries and the health organization. So this is the main factor, I would say, that is playing a critical role in this underreporting. And one thing I can think of over the top of my head right now is we need to educate people and make them aware how this pharmacovigilance domain works, because ultimately it's the safety of the patient and it's the safety of us only.
Right. So it's really an issue. Underreporting is a critical issue here, and passing out
Hmm.
the knowledge is even more crucial. Coming to
Right.
the global market, what are your inputs on the current global pharmacovigilance market, and do you see any future
Hmm.
trends that might help India as well?
Yes, talking about the future perspective, right from I'll specifically highlight this COVID pandemic. After this COVID pandemic, people have realized how these vaccines and how these new treatments are important. How basically, when this COVID pandemic started, people were made aware that the vaccine will be launched, and people doesn't know the true story behind how the drug is launched in the market, what all parameters and what all barriers are there. And a drug has to pass, there are various barriers, there are, you can say, there are various hurdles. And India, being a developing countries, a lot of effort have been emphasized to improve our healthcare system. So talking about this pharmacovigilance domain, most of the pharmaceutical companies, what they are doing is basically they are outsourcing these activities to India. And India soon, I would say, specifically from 2020 will, I'm hoping that within 5 or another 10 years, it will become a pharmaceutical hub across the globe. Most of the companies are reaching us, or India, basically they are requesting, or maybe they are asking us that these activities should be performed. Although I understand there is a underreporting in terms of ADR monitoring, but yes, most of the activities are taken care of various CROs, clinical research organization, or be it contract research organization. So slowly and steadily the inclination is going towards India, and it is becoming a knowledge processing, you can say, unit.
Right. So India is actually the global point for outsourcing, but so much more in pharmacovigilance. So do you see
All
India
right.
emerge as the pharmacovigilance center in the upcoming years compared to other countries?
Yes, definitely. Yes. I remember I passed out my post graduation in 2012, and there in 2012 I wasn't basically familiar what kind of activities I'm going to deal with when entering this pharmacovigilance domains. I had a superficial knowledge, but when I entered this domain, I slowly and steadily realized what activities are being taken care by the pharmacovigilance profession, be it in terms of individual case safety reporting, be in terms of aggregate analysis, be in terms of safety science, or you can say safety analysis. So not only limited to one domain. Nowadays we have HEOR, that is health economic and outcome research. So there are different pillars, you can say, or pillars, or you can say different stakeholders that are involved in the regulation of pharmacovigilance. So definitely, yes, I'm in a strong belief that in upcoming years, I cannot definitely say 5 or 10 years, but yes, in upcoming years, I'm expecting India to become a global hub, and specifically for the pharmacovigilance activity, not only limited to any specific task, but as a whole, definitely India will emerge as a PV center.
Right. Thank you so much for those insights. And we hope too that this domain actually flourishes. And thank you, Mr. Gupta, for taking out the time to be with us on Brickwork Ratings. And we look forward for more meaningful interactions.
Yeah, sure. Sure, Tina. Thank you so much for inviting me in. Thank you.